Hi there, Abhik here. So in this video, what we are going to make is these designs, and along with this can be filtered, and it will look like this. And on pressing any of these tags present here, it will look like this. So this will be a filterable list, static jobs list, and this is a Frontend Mentor Challenge, obviously, and it will look like this on the mobile screens. So we will be using TypeScript, Next.js, and useReducers, as well as use context hooks. And for animations, we will be using Framer Motion. So some prior knowledge to Next.js, TypeScript, and the useReducer, use context, as well as Framer Motion can help you a lot. So here I will get the starter code from this repository, and I have linked it in the description. So what I will do is I would press on this code button, and here you can either download it by zip format, or you can do it by cloning. So what I will do is I will clone it. So I will copy this here, and then I will open my terminal to a folder. For here I am opening it in Frontend Mentor Challenges, and then I would write git clone, and then I would paste that using Ctrl V. I will press enter, and it will clone it. So now that it is cloned, what I will do is, so I will open this folder in the VS Code, and you can see that there are the designs present in the design directory, and we will work according to these designs. And then you can see that in the pages directory we have app.tsx and index.tsx. There is a context directory, components directory, public directory, and inside this public directory we have the images. Inside there is a reducers directory as well. There is styles directory, and there is a data.json, and there is this style guide.md, which have all the colors, fonts, necessary stuff present here. I will now open up my terminal, and then what I will write is npm I, and then I will press enter, and this will run the npm I command so that all the required dependencies will be installed. And after that is installed, then we will do start our code. So I will first design the layout, and then later on I will add these filtering features. So let's create the design first. Now, first of all, I would do something, that is import this header, jobs, and these styles from home module.css, and then I will render this header and jobs. This header is this header, and jobs are those jobs. All right. So now let's create the header. So here in the header tag, I have done this, just one line header, class name bg header. So let's do the stylize now. So here I have also given the body a min height of 100 viewport height, and you will have a list style of none. And then I will start styling the header. So I will give the background color a HSL value which I got from style guide, and then I will give a height of calculate 0.2 in multiplied by 100 viewport height, and also I will give the background images bg header. Now I will also give the background size, cover, repeat, no repeat, and position will have a bottom, so it will look exactly like this. Now I will stylize the jobs. So here in the jobs I will import the styles from jobs.module.css, which I have created here, and data is something from data.json. So here is the data.json, and I am importing data, and import job from .jobs. So I have also created another component here with the name of job. Now inside the jobs function, I will do something like ul class name styles.jobs and data.map. So this data.map, this data is an array. So D will be type of job, and I will show you what type of job is. And this is D colon job is just for TypeScript people. And then I will return job class, job component. So, and along with that I will pass job will be this D, and key will be this D.id. Then let's create the job.tsx. So here in the job.tsx, I will create a react.function component, and I will pass a props named job.props, and I will also render a list element li tag with class name of styles.job. So let's import the styles from jobs.module.css, and also filters. This filters is something I will create later on, and here I will create a type job, and this type is required here. So in this type of job are those data.json returns these array objects, and then I will have a job props which will have a job with type of job, and there inside this props I will pass a array destructuring method job, and here I will create an array with constant filters. So this array will comprise of job.role, job.level, and then I will spread the job.languages array, and then I will spread the job.tools. So what this actually is, you can see frontend senior, these are the job.role and job.level, and then HTML, CSS, JavaScript are belong to the languages. And here if you see in other cases, then there are React, SAS, JavaScript, so some of them also belong to the job.tools. So I will create these filters. Now let's create the li tag. So here I will first of all create a div with class name of styles.company logo, and then I will give it a image src job.logo, so this job.logo, and then alt will be job.company, so this company name, and then inside that I will have a div with title company, and inside this company I will also give the styles.company. I will have a span with the job.company, and if job.new is true, then I will return styles.new with a span with the new exclamation mark, and if the job.feature is also true, then I will return another span which will have featured written. And then here below that I will have a h2 tag which will have a styles.position as class and job.position as the text content, and there inside the div.features I will have 3 spans with job.posted, job.contract, and job.location. And so I have changed the name to tags here because I guess that will be much suitable here. And here after the features I will actually create a tags component. With these tags will be these tags, and I will create the tags component shortly. So now let's stylize the jobs.module.css. so these jobs will have a display of flex direction column, and this justify content will be spaced evenly, and padding will be something like 3 em for top and bottom and 1 em for left and right. And then I will give the job a position of relative, margin will be 2 em for top and bottom, and border radius will be 8 pixels, so it has some rounded corners, and padding will be 0.2 em on top and bottom and 1.2 em on left and right. And then I will have some box shadow as well. Also I will give it a minimum height of 10 em, and also job.before this pseudo element will have a position of absolute, top will be 0, left will be 0, and content will be this empty string, width will be 10 pixel, and this before will be required for this blue line. So on hovering, I guess on hovering they require this blue line. So I will have this border top left and bottom left radius to be 8 pixels as well, and background will be this color, and transform scale y will be 0. So later on hovering we can have some transform scale. So also I will give you some transition height, and transform origin will be bottom. So then on hovering, this before element will have a scale y of 1. So the company logo will have also a position of absolute, and translate y will be minus 50%, so that it renders above the card, 50% above the card, and width and height will be 2.7 em each, and border radius will be 50%. So the company logo image will have a width and height of 100%. And then I will have company features which will have margin top of 1.5 em, display flex, and align item center, and this will be applied for both company and features. So the company is this one and the features are this one. So then I will have the span not the last child. So if the not the last child, so these two elements photo snap and new will have a margin right of 1 em, and the span of first child will have a color of this and this color, and font weight will be bold. Also they're not the company's not first child, so these two new and featured will have a color of white, padding will be 50 pixel and 5 pixel and 10 pixels, and border radius will be 999 pixel, so it appears to be a peeled button. And the new and background featured will have some backgrounds, and position will have a margin of margin top of 0.5, so this position. And then I will have features, these will have margin top of 1 em, so these features, and padding bottom and border bottom as well. And then feature span will have a color of this, and feature span not the first child will have this position of relative, padding left and margin left, so that they are having some spaces. And then for all these this second and third element, I will have this before pseudo element to have the content of this empty string, and width and height, background, and border radius, so that it appears to be a circle. And then position will be absolute, and I will align it on the y-axis, and then for the left, so that it is somewhat aligned to the left. So here in the tags component, first I will create a tags props, which will be a string array, and then I will create the tags component, where the it will be React functional component which take the tags prop and also these tags, and then it will return ul unordered list with the class name of styles.filters, and there I will have tags.map tag. For each tag it will return a tag component with key tag, and tag value will be tag. So let's create tag props now, which will be a string value tag, and the tag component will be a React function component with the tag as the props, and it will return actually a li element which will have a class name of styles.filter, and on clicking it will fire an event. Currently it will fire nothing, but later on we will use it for firing an event, and then it will render tag. Display will be flex, and flex wrap is absolutely necessary. Then I will give them some border radius of 5 pixel, padding will be 0.5 em, color will be white, and background will be this, and then I will give them some margin of 5 pixel as well. So it looks like this here. Now I know the design has been a bit altered, so I will fix that also. And now we will create the filter options, and then later on, after the functionality is working, then we will create the responsive design. I have created a filter reducer.ts in the reducers directory. So I will actually create another export which will be of type actions. So this type actions will be will be an object. So this object will either have type of add filter, and payload will be an object with filter property of string. Otherwise this object will have a type of remove filter, and payload will be object of the filter string, and then the type or else that object will have the type of clear all, and the payload will be an empty string, empty object. So now let's create the final reducer actually. So this reducer will have state and action. So state will be of type string array, and action will be of type these actions. So then we will have the switch case with action.type. So if the case is add.filter, then we will actually check if the state actually includes the action.payload.filter. So if actually the state includes the action.payload.filter, then we will return the state. So no adding of the action.payload.filter. Otherwise, if the state does not include it, so we need to append it. So we'll return a new array which will have all the elements of the state, and then we will append the action.payload.filter. So for the remove filter, what I will do is I will actually use the state filter. So we will filter all the elements which are denoted by fill, and we will return a new array which will does not have the action.payload.filter. So this is the common way of removing an element from array. So in the case clear all, we will return an empty array, and in the default we will return the state. So we are done with the reducers here. So let's create the filter context, which will be of .tsx type in the context directory. So I have already included the create context, useReducer, actions, filter reducer. So I have already imported them. So what now I will do is I will create a filter context provider JSX element function component, and also which will return something and these children as well. So first of all, I will create a filter context, that is a create context, and this create context will have a type. Filters will be of string array type, and dispatch will be of react.dispatch, which will be these actions. Alright, so now I will actually initialize them. The filters will be of empty array, and dispatch will be of void function. And then what I will do is I will actually get the constant inside the array. We will get filters and dispatch. So and we will use the useReducer hook, which will pass the filter reducer as the first argument, and the second argument will be the empty array, which will be initializing this. Then I will wrap the filter context.provider, and inside the filter context.provider I will wrap all the children elements. So then we will actually have pass the value, which will be this object destructuring, which will have filters and dispatch. So with that being done, now inside the index.tsx we will actually, first of all, we will also import and this active filters and filter context provider, and this active filters is something we will create shortly. And then I will actually wrap these active filters and the jobs both with this filter context provider. So here what I will do is I will actually get the filter context, import the filter context, and then we will use the context, and then we will get the dispatch filter context, and we will get the dispatch. And on clicking, what I will do is I will dispatch an object with the type add filter, and payload will be an object which will have the filter, and this filter will be this tag value here. So this dispatch will fire a dispatch in this dispatch, and this dispatch will actually fire a dispatch here with the action.type is add filter. So it will check if the state includes, and if it does not, then it will do this, and if it includes, then it will return the blank state, the previous state only. So that's how this will work. So the active filters will be this div, and let's create that. So first of all, what I will do is I will use context, the filter context which I have already imported, and I will get the filters and dispatch. Now if I will check if the filters.length is greater than 0, that means whether this array actually exists or not, this filters array. So if it is not an empty array, then and only then we will render a div with class name of div, and with the styles of active filter, and there we will have a UL which will have these filters. So I will give it a class name of styles.filters, just like these filters, and then I will map the filters array, and I will return each filter as a li tag with the key and class name of styles.filter, and then I will render the filter. But here in this case, along with the filter, I will also render a button, and this button will, on clicking, it will dispatch the type remove filter, and then the payload will be this filter. So if we press on this button here, then it will remove this particular filter from the filters array. So for that we need this remove filter, dispatch this remove filter, and then the class name will be styles.rmf, and this is just a random name I gave, and also the image will be this dot images icon remove.svg. So I got this from the images directory, and when this is done, there is this clear button. So for that I will use this button, and it will, on clicking, it will dispatch type clear all, and the payload will be an empty object, and the class name will be styles.clear, and the text content will be clear. We need to actually filter the jobs along with the filters as well, right? So with respect to the filters, we will filter our jobs. So for that we will actually do something like this. So we will get the we will use context, the filter context once again, and we will get the filters. So now after that, what I will do is I will actually have another variable, constant found. So this found variable will check whether the filters.every. So if the filters, every element in the filters, and every element will be denoted here by R. So every element in this filters array actually is also included in tags array. So that if every element in the filters array is actually present in the tags array also, then it will return found to be true, otherwise it will return found to be false. So what I will do here is I will do some condition reading. So for that, what I will do is I will first of all check if the filters.length is greater than 0. So if it is greater than 0, that means that a filters array is not empty, so there might be one or more filters. So along with that, if the found is also false, so that means that the filters, there are one or more filters, and all those filters are not present in the tags array of that job. So only then what I will do is I will actually render then null. I will render nothing. Otherwise I will render this li tag. I will close these tags here. So now let's do some style fix. Let me go to the filters.module. So here what I have done is I have given some color and background, which you can get from the HSL style guide as well. So then I have created this clear and this active filters, which will have a display of grid, and grid template columns will be 80% auto. So this auto will be taken by the clear button, and 80% will be taken by the filters, and then width will be 90% for the mobile scenes, and then some box shadow, and the transform translate by -50%, so that it appears to be a bit above the header. So for that, and the RMF is these buttons. So they will have something like this stylings, and I will have some border radius here. So this looks like, appears to be rounded, and the active filters.filter. So all the filters in the active filter, not these filters. So these filters are under active filter. So they will have some padding left, and they will have some display of grid, and grid template columns will be 1fr auto. So 1fr will this, and auto will be this, and then some gaps between them as well, and this padding left and padding 0. So let's look at how our filters are working. So here if I choose full stack, it just shows this 2 elements, and if I choose Django, then it will show only 1 element, and if I remove this Django by pressing this cross button, then it is removed and these 2 elements are shown again. And if I press this clear, and all the elements are shown. Now let me choose ROR. So only 1 element is shown again, and let me choose JavaScript. So if I choose JavaScript, you can see that the second element gone and many of these elements have gone. So now you can see this JavaScript is senior front-end developer is showing and this junior. So if I press junior, now you can see that that is gone. And if I press the junior once again, it will do nothing. If I press JavaScript once again, it will do nothing. So that's our filter is actually working perfectly. If I press clear, then the div is getting removed. If I press front end, the div is actually also being shown. And I will now what I will do is I will create the responsive design. I will add some animations and I will show you how these hover effects are happening and some bug fixes here and there. So what I will do is I will install npm i _save framer motion. After installing that, what I will do is inside the ActiveFilters.tsx, I will import animate presence and motion from framer motion, and I will convert the div here, this ActiveFilters div, to a motion.div so that we can animate. Motion.div allows us to animate, and then I will give initial scale 0 y 50%, animate scale 1 y minus 50%, and exit scale 0 y minus 50%. Now why we are giving this y minus 50%? If you remember, in the active filters, what we did was we was giving transform translate y minus 50%. So for that we need this. And then inside the li, actually I will convert this li also, this filter li's to be motion.li. And I will give them an initial and animate of opacity 0 and 1. And also to make them much smooth, and actually when this we actually remove this motion div, this filters div from the DOM, we want that to have an exit animation of scale 0. So for that to work, we need this animate presence. So I will wrap this empty text with animate presence, right? So now let's stylize the job as well. So the job has these li tags and we have already wrapped them with these empty react fragments. So what I will do is I will convert this li tags to motion.li, and then I will give it a layout id. Now this layout id will help us move these animations and have a very smooth animation. I will show you. And initial will be opacity 0, animate will be opacity 1, and exit animation will be opacity 0. And for the exit animation to work perfectly, we need this animate presence. So we will instead of react fragments, we will have this animate presence here as well. And in the index.tsx, for the layout id to work perfectly, we will wrap these active filters and jobs with the animated shared layout. So if you see here, then if I press front end, you can see that these animations are working. And let me show you what this layout id was doing. So if I press the full stack here, you can see that the full stack actually moved up. That's where the layout id is actually working. And you can see the exit animations for the filters div and for other divs as well. So here there's a opacity is moving up and down and like this. So the animations are also working. So let's make it responsive. So what I will do here is, first thing that I will do is I will give it a job with a width of 95 viewport width and mean width of 18 am. So that becomes responsive. So after that, what I will do is here I will create some media queries. So the first media query will be for width of 600 pixel, the job's width will be 90 viewport width, and for the screen width of minimum width of 768 pixels, so I will give the job a display of grid, and then I will give the grid template columns a 10% auto and 40%, and also the grid template rows will be 30%, 20% and 20%. And then what I will do is I will give the grid template areas logo, company, tags, logo, position, tags, logo, features, tags. I will give them a padding of 1 em, and I will remove the padding right 0, and the column I will give some column gap and row gap, and then I will align items to the center. And then what I will do for the company is I will give company grid area of company, margin I will remove the margin. I will for the feature I will give a grid area of feature, and then I will remove the margin, top, padding bottom, border and height will be fit content. And for the position I will also remove the margin top, and I will give the height of fit content. And for the company logo I will also give the grid area of logo, and I will make the position static and remove the transform, and then I will boost up the width and height, and then I will align it to the center and justify it to the center. Then what I will do is, for the minimum width above 1024 pixels, I will give the job a grid template columns of 10%, auto 50%, width will be 80 viewport width, and maximum width will be 55%. So no matter how big this wide the screen goes, the width will be fixed to 55 em. So with that being done, let's also stylize the filter. So I will give the filter a grid area of tags. And then what I will do here is, I will on hovering on filters, I will give it a color, and background will be this color. And for the clear, on hovering I will give it a color, and I will give the text decoration underline. And for RMF also I will give some background color, and I got these colors from style guide. And ActiveFilters.filter, I will remove the grid area for all the filters in the active filters. And the ActiveFilters.filters will also have no hover statements, right? So for that I will give them like this. And for the screen width, minimum width 768 pixels, I will give the filter a max height of 2.5 em, and the width will be 80 viewport width, and max width will be 55 em. Along with that, for the global.css, what I will do is, I will give the BG header for screens above 600 pixels width. I will give them a BG header desktop. So what will that look like? That will look like, let me refresh this. So in the laptop screens it will look like this, and if I press the junior, so the filters are working fine. And if I hold hovering, you will see the colors on hovering, you can see the underline, and these are also working absolutely fine. So let me show you on iPhone 5. So it looks like this on iPhone 5, and the animations might work absolutely right. So if I press the full stack, so it's working absolutely fine. And it looks like this on iPhone X, and it looks like this on iPad as well. So this is looking absolutely fine. So everything is working fine here. So you can find the final code inside this main branch here. There are two branches, so choose the main branch and you can find the final code here. So thank you for watching this video. If you are benefited from this video, then do leave a like and comment and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video, and for my subscribers, thank you for supporting me.